Dr. Donovan, for my first question, I'd like to refer to your new book, which was just published a few months ago. The title is George Washington at Headquarters, Dobbs Ferry. I'd like to show that to the camera. It's published in September 2009, and it deals with the 1781 encampment of the American and French Allied armies in our area, in Dobbs Ferry and in localities to the east. Two armies were under the command of General Washington and General Rochambeau. There are other fascinating references in your book. French officers write, they've observed the American army, the American soldiers, and they write that they're appalled to see the state of destitution of the American soldiers. Yet, despite that destitution, the French officers expressed their surprise at the spirit of the American troops. That contrast is very striking for me. Can you comment more about that?
Let me just read you some of this, because I think it was astounding what the French officers actually had to say. One of the men, Clermont Crevecoeur, talked about when he came over to Dobbs Ferry to see the forces that were here. He said, "I went to the American camp. In beholding this army, I was struck, not by its smart appearance, but by its destitution. The men were without uniforms and covered with rags. Most of them were barefoot. They were of all sizes, down to children who could not have been over 14. There were many Negroes, mulattoes, etc. Only their artillerymen were wearing uniforms. These are the very elite of the country and are actually very good troops and well schooled in their profession. We had nothing but praise for them later." Another one of the French officers wrote, "I am full of admiration for the American troops. It is unbelievable that troops composed of men of all ages, even the children of 15, of blacks and whites, nearly all naked, without money, poorly fed, should walk so well and stand the enemy's fire with such firmness. The calmness of mind and the clever combinations of General Washington, in whom I discover every day new eminent qualities, are already enough known, and the whole universe respects and admires him." But they were struck by the look of the American soldiers. And you see this not only in what the French officers said. Later on, Alexander Hamilton was given a command. And Alexander Hamilton very quickly wrote to Washington and demanded that his soldiers be given shoes. Washington wrote back, "We had no shoes." And Alexander Hamilton writes back in desperation saying, "An army must have shoes." It's hard to believe that this army actually fought without any shoes, and yet some of them did. Some of them marched all the way to Virginia with rags around their feet.